Let's see. Okay, we're live. Welcome to another episode of Bridging the Gap Between Men and Women. I'm your host, Ramont Williams. Today we have a very special guest, Tabitha.
Yes.
Our topic today is what it's like dating over 40. So why don't you bless us with the grace of introducing yourself?
Hi, my name is Tabitha Irving Boyle. I am 52 years old and I live in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay, so Tabitha, I met you a little while ago and approached you, which I do with a lot of women, and actually you were very open-minded, very cordial, which I appreciate. You taking time off because we were at work. So and I asked you a few questions. I think at the time you probably thought I was trying to flirt with you, but no, this is
No, I
actually
heard already that you were an interesting person to talk to, so I just was a little caught off guard.
okay. Well, what we do on this show, unlike a lot of other podcasts, what we try to do is talk about resolves. How to bring about resolutions to the dating scene. Okay, I'm trying to find this and see why it's not online. Yeah, there we go. But so what I would like to do at this time is get your perspective. You say you're how old?
I'm 52.
Say that again, please.
I am 52. 52.
52?
Yes.
Okay. 52 years old. So you're single, I would assume.
I'm single.
Okay. How long have you been single, Tabitha?
I don't really have a perfect answer for that. I have been in and out of assorted relationships and have found myself to be at the mercy of those choices. So I'm lucky enough to have help from a former significant other at this time. As far as single, I mean, I don't ever really consider myself single because I've always felt like I was just not really supposed to have anybody. So it doesn't really make you feel single. It just makes you feel like you're just there. You know what I mean? I haven't had the single mentality of like getting out there and like going to clubs and that type of thing. That's more of what my mind tells me single is about. Looking, like going out prowling and looking. So I don't really know how to classify myself, I guess.
So what would you say it's like dating today? Once you get to a certain age.
I mean, I have had some contact with like my youngest or my oldest granddaughter, and the kids are pretty advanced. Um, every the beginning of dating experience, the beginning of dating years, actually, from what I see, texting and meeting people via chat rooms or dating services. Everybody's social skills are lacking, so it's very rare that like a well-dressed gentleman or lady would approach you and ask you if they can take you to coffee or lunch, or they come off creepy for the most part. Everybody feels more comfortable hiding behind the internet and their phone, so there's not a lot of organic approaching, I noticed.
So would it be safe to assume that what you're saying is, because I've experienced some of the same things trying to do this online dating, people probably 95%, the percentage may be a little bit higher. Most of these people on these dating lines are not real. They're out to scam people, or they have some other ulterior motive. But you being a woman that we would just say in her prime,
Oh, thanks.
what type of man that, you know, because it's being said that once women get past 35, close to 40, that there's not very many options for them when it comes to dating. So would you agree to that?
Absolutely.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I 100% agree. 100%. You know, you get to the point where you're convinced that, I mean, why would somebody my age be available, interested in me, not screwed up in the head some type of way or bitter? You know, it just thins it down. And I'm not with the alternative lifestyle choices. I'm not, I mean, if I was to go out and assume that I could play the field and date, I just don't think there's anything out there for me, period. Like, period.
So
Period.
so basically you're saying that once women get to a certain age that their options are very limited?
I agree. At best.
Okay. So if that's the case, then why do you think there's so many women out here that's participating in a lot of these talk shows that believe that there is no limit to age, there is no limit to options once you get to a certain level in your life? What do you think about that?
I think that for, different circumstances are going to, be for different people. I mean, how could somebody like me have the same social opportunities as somebody like Oprah, or somebody who has a very mainstream job, or somebody that's making incredible amounts of money? There's going to open up a whole bunch of more social circles for them to, experiment or make appearances at and see what they come up with. That's just not something. I'm just like a regular kind of like blue collar, most my hands get, yucky from work. I can't have glamorous nails and this hair and everything on day in and day out. So, it kind of,
So-
of course, and are you really going to find a 52-year-old virgin that's, rich and not bitter? No.
So with this perspective that you have, would you say that realistically you concluded that you probably remain single the rest of your life?
Concluded. I feel like I've entertained it to where it's caused me grief, but then, I still watch a whole lot of shows like Say Yes to the Dress, where every girl still wants to know that beautiful wedding day will come. Come on, it's just fantasy. It all is healthy and it's good for you. Whatever God has in store for me, I do not know. I feel that maybe I'm at a time where I need to complete myself. I'm not my best self yet. I think if I'm going to get the few good ones that are out there in life when I'm, older, and I don't have worries like I have today. I mean, I just don't feel like I have what most confident people are even trying to befriend in a lot of cases. I've been told that I'm a little bit unpolished, and I don't have the camaraderie or just the report card to show that says I'm all these things. So, but I still kind of have.
So you still have a desire to be married one day?
I think that's the most beautiful agreement somebody can make with another human and God. I think that's over the top huge. It's the biggest promise you can make as a mortal human.
So it's almost, with the mindset of people today, I'm kind of inclined to believe that it's almost like a unicorn dream, like a fantasy, a Disneyland theme, because most men today are not even, don't even entertain the thought of getting married again because of the mindset of so many women in the past. And it's not to say that all women are like that, because there are good women like you out there that's genuine, that wants to play her role and be with a man and have a partnership. But then you have a lot of women out here that's basically getting into relationships for financial gain. And most men know that. They're very aware of that, and they're not even willing to take that risk, because why should me as a man work all my life to acquire all the things I have just to have a woman to come in and she has a mood swing and decides to divorce me and take half of what I've worked for all my life?
It's an ugly thing. I mean, and it's understandable. Period.
So what do you think about women that have this mindset?
I mean, I don't feel like, I believe it's on both sides. First of all, I think that the wicked intent is on both sides. You know what I mean? I've met a lot of different types of people, and an opportunist is an opportunist, and that's something you can't see coming. It's a pitiful thing, you know. I feel like everybody should be able to protect their assets and what they have. I mean, I wouldn't expect anybody to enter into a marriage without a detailed prenuptial agreement. That's silly, you know. And if it's too ugly for the person you're trying to marry, then they're not the person for you. You know, if they have a problem with signing it, then just move on. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody should have the fear day in and day out that they're going to lose everything they worked for. That's horrifying.
Okay, let's go back to what you said, that you still have this hopes of one day meeting your knight in shining armor, if you will, for lack of better words, that will come into your life and make you happy and be present and do all these things. So with that being said, what would you offer this man in return?
I don't know. I mean, what is it that is of value to somebody? I can't promise that I'm always going to be pretty. I can't promise that I'm always going to be healthy. I can promise I'll always be honest. I can promise that I'll always be loyal. I can promise to contribute and support and to conduct myself as a lady 98% of the time. Well, I can't promise myself. I can't promise that I'm not going to still play my music loud, and I can't promise that I'm going to be obedient. Will not promise that. It's a joke. I do feel like I can always stand to learn something else, but obedience would never be a part of the package. I'm not all that submissive, but everybody is to a point. But that's it. I can't promise to be Mrs. Perfect, you know, closed mouth. You know.
Okay, let me ask you a question, because you just made a statement, which, you know, for the guys that may be on here that may inbox me, you know, in reference to you, which I know that's coming, inquiring about things in reference to you. But my thing is this: you made the statement that you don't know if you can be submissive. What does that mean? Because
submissive as in giving up my personal say so or compromising my own point of view.
So help me understand this, okay? If you're in a relationship with a man that you respect, why do you feel it's necessary to put titles in reference to your personality traits and the things you should be doing or shouldn't be doing in a relationship? Because men are very simple, okay? All we want is peace, harmony, and support, and for a woman to show us appreciation. Now, I was talking to a friend today who actually was on the show. She couldn't make it today, and I hope everything goes well with her and her family that just came to town. And she was talking about the 50-50 thing. Okay.
Mm.
Now here's my thing. You can be independent because that you have already claimed because of whatever circumstances that has happened in your life that put you in your current situation. Would you agree?
Yes. I mean, I imagine so. Independent thinker.
Okay. So here's the thing. Once you come into a role into your role with a man in a relationship, then that independence, you can still be independent, but you have to understand that there is not an independent in a relationship.
100% agree. That's
You
not,
know,
that's,
because
maybe
a
I chose
man
the
can't
incorrect
say
word.
a man can't say he's in a relationship. Hypothetically, if me and you were in a relationship, I can't say we're in a relationship, but I'm gonna still go out and date other women because I'm independent.
No. That's not what I
It,
mean at
it,
all.
it has to make sense. So I think the problem that we're running into, that a lot of both men and women are not understanding is that if you're going to go into a relationship, you're making an obligation, a committed obligation. Okay, there's no hidden agendas. There's no hidden motives. Your main objective is to move forward in a partnership with this man or with this woman.
I agree.
Okay, so with that being said, we have to start dispensing these titles that we have acquired, both men and women. And it's more so women than men, but I'm not here to badger women about the decision to make. What I'm trying to do is come up with resolve. What kind of resolutions can we put out there for the audience that they can grasp and say, well, you know what? I've been thinking this way for the longest because this, and that has happened to put me in this position. But what he said made a lot of sense. So let me dabble at that a little bit and apply that to my life, and maybe some changes can come about, because that's what this podcast is basically for, is to help bring about change. We're not here to criticize, to be condescending or any of those things. If we can say something that will give you a different perspective, put you on a different avenue of life where it can be more conducive and productive to your life, that's what we're here for. That's the reason I told you earlier, I personally select the people that I choose to be on here as guests. I don't have a crew that go out and just recruit people just on the sake of saying that I have a bunch of people that show up on my podcast. That's not what I do. Okay. So what we're going to do is this. You, being the woman that you are, having the perspective that you have, okay, let's keep an open mind to realize this. Physical attributes you have, that's unquestionable. Okay. And most men are visual. So we're going to be attracted to that. But what comes underneath that exterior shell is going to be the determined factor whether we embrace you in a relationship, because it's been said, and I totally agree with it, that men control relationships, women don't. You only control the aspect of sex that most men need. Well, most real men, you got men flipping over to the other side, but I'm not going to get into that. But my point being is, when you say submissive, you have to understand you're entitled. That's your God-given right to have an opinion and to be heard. But when you're in the presence of your man, you have to be mindful that you have entrusted this man to lead you, to guide you, to make sure that your life is better, to protect you. Because if somebody kicking that door, you're not going to jump up out of bed to run to and see who's there. You're going to be dependent and relying on that man to get up out of his sleep to go and make sure that you and your household is safe. What?
Oh, no, not me. I'll be up with my dog and checking it out. No sense waiting. Get it done.
But that's because you're single now. I'm talking about if you're in a relationship.
That would happen regardless, because I just feel that I am more sensory and more equipped to, get tactical. I'm an unusual type of person. I'm very unusual. I don't wait for the prompting. I don't wait for the significant other to protect and preserve, because I've never really had that.
So in the gender role, you're challenging a man.
Not at all. I've just never had anybody protect and preserve, so I just don't look for it.
So, okay, so if you've never had that and a man is willing to offer that, you're still going to challenge that?
Of course not. Of course not. It would be a pleasant surprise. See, I'm sorry if I could just say this. I mean, the thing about the submissiveness and like you were saying, the person that's always in charge of their relationship, the cynical part of me believes that the person that cares the least about the relationship is the one in charge of it. Now, I love all the old school traditions. I'm all about. There's never been a need to look for a towel, a sock. The food's always cooked. I'm a fantastic cook. The gender roles, the traditional gender roles, I love it. It makes me feel secure and needed. But then there's that flip side of me that hasn't had the traditional, chivalry, and that makes me a little bit. I just am more reliant on myself to get. It's unfortunate. I guess it's pretty sad, but it is what it is. I don't wait around for someone to protect me.
Okay, let me say this.
Oh no.
This is something that I hear on a regular basis, right? Now, I did a show a little while back about independent women, and this is what I've concluded through my research and my personal knowledge, that most women today, no matter what their ethnicity is, have experienced some type of trauma when it comes to relationships to some degree or another. Okay. But as we move forward in life, those decisions, you can't get rid of your experience no matter how hard you try. You can't forget it. It's going to always be a part of your subconscious. But sometime and some point, we have to move past that, because oftentimes, both with men and women, it's the relationships that we choose to engulf ourselves in that it determines the outcome. Now, I'm going to give you a prime example. I know a lot of women, and I'm not saying this about you because I don't know you personally like that. A lot of women get in relationships and they start off like this fairy tale. And then the man shows his true colors. He becomes very abusive. And, it may be a child involved. And the woman's excuse is, for the duration of these years that she endured this abuse, that I stayed in it for the sake of my child. This is what I want to say to any woman out there that's listening to this today or any day that perceived this, that if you ever participate in a relationship with any man and he's verbally or physically abusive, and you stay, once he's shown you that side of his personality, then you're the fool. You have no recourse to come back at a later date and try to get people to empathize with you when it's your choice. Now, it's one thing if he's keeping you locked down in prison, you don't have access to a phone, don't have access to the outside world. But if you can come and go at your leisure and you choose to come back into that environment, you only have yourself to blame. Because no, it's not right for men to abuse or neglect or anything negative towards a woman. But you have those type of men out here. They exist. So if you embrace that, why should I sympathize with you when, you can easily walk away from it?
Well, do you want me to answer that honestly?
Yes,
I feel anybody seeking sympathy has issues. And I feel those willing to give sympathy have the same issue, because sympathy solves no problem and seeks no resolve. Okay. The sympathy is the person that will climb into the ditch with you and help you scream for help. The empathetic person will help you create solution to get out.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a big fat statement, like to say that they're a fool, because a lot of people that have been through trauma and relationship already feel that they're a fool. You know what I mean? And what they need is to experience just the freedom of just that burden not being there. Limited understanding gives limited solution.
Well, men are subjected to psychological and physical trauma just as well as women.
Of course,
Okay.
anybody human is.
Yeah, when it comes to relationship, my point being this is that with the experience that you may or may not have had in the course of your lifetime, there are men out there that will treat you like the queen that you are. They will appreciate you, they will love you, they will protect you, they will honor you, they won't cheat on you. But if you go and search in a crowd of those type of men that possess just the opposite of that which you desire, then that's shame on you.
Of course.
You know, and there's no guarantees given to man or woman in life other than we will die. That's it. That's the only guarantee that we have in life.
Absolutes.
So I think you have a positive outlook on life. I think being on this show, whether today or next week, you know, to expose you to a different gender of people and perspectives, and who knows what may come from this, you know, because there's good guys out there that's willing, as I said, to treat you the way you feel you deserve to be treated. And then there's guys out there that will do what the previous guys did. Just like there's women out there that would be positive and supporting, as you said, and then there's women out there that their only recourse is to use and abuse. Because someone said this, and I'm a firm believer of it. There's only three things in this world that's love unconditionally. That's a woman, a child, and a pet. Okay. When it comes to men, we have to prove each and every day our worthiness. And the only time we're appreciated is when they shut that casket door on us. And I'm not to say, it's not to say that this is all men, because I know men whose family.
Huh? I didn't hear what you said. The last part of that last thought, I didn't catch that.
What I was saying is there's only three people or three things that's loved unconditionally. And that's yes. Women, children, and pets. Okay. Men have to prove their worthiness consistently. And the only time oftenly that men are appreciated is upon their death.
Oh.
I go through the same battle with my children. Do they love me? Unquestionably, they love me. But do they appreciate me? No, they don't. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing when it comes to relationships. Oftentimes, people do not appreciate you. So you have to find that common balance, in my opinion, where if a person appreciates you, you're going to see it every day.
Absolutely.
Not just in words, but in action.
You'll hear it in everything. You'll see it, you'll hear it, you'll experience it.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So let me pose this question to you. And it kind of give the audience a broader perspective of who Tabitha is and what makes Tabitha tick.
Do you need me to turn another light on in here?
Yes, please.
Okay, give me just
a moment. It's getting a little dark.
That better?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you. So let's give the audience a better perspective of Tabitha. So you, Tabitha, being this warm, loving, charismatic woman that you are, what would be the I wouldn't say the perfect man, but what would be that choice man that you would look for in a relationship?
Somebody that knows me and is still a fan. Someone that actually knows me. I don't need anybody to like me or kiss my behind about anything, but it'd be pretty cool to have someone not down me, someone that could say, "Well, there's a whole lot." Appreciate everything about me that's an individual, everything about me that's not like other people, everything about me that compliments them, and everything about me that gives them a headache. You know.
So what would you consider? Tell me a special characteristic trait that you possess that would make you different from all the other women in the world.
Ooh, that's a good question. A characteristic that I possess. Well, make me different or you more unique? Because I mean, different from everybody. I just don't know what that would be. Um, I have a pretty huge sense of justice. I'm very, very partial to kind of simplicity in a lot of ways. And I don't know that it doesn't make me different from everybody, but I think just the combination of, because I'm really high strung in a lot of ways. Um, I have super. I mean, I feel bad. I want to save everybody at times, but at the same time, I'm aggressive, and I think just the balance of the things that I have the biggest contrasts in, you know what I mean? Like my ability to be sensitive and my ability to be aggressive. Like I think the balances of those things is what really sets me apart from everybody more than anything. And my ability I'm a super socialite, but I have days where I just don't care if my phone's even charged at the same time, I think that the balances of the things about me is what sets me apart from everybody. That's what I would think it is.
Okay, let me say something. I don't know if you can see these comments that's coming up.
I don't have my glasses on. I really can't see.
Okay. Well, it's some lady on here. I don't know who she is. She's never been on before. Her name is Hallicom73. She said, she made a statement, but ma'am, I want to say something to you that you need to understand that this background in my picture is not my house. Okay, so I'm not trying to impress anybody. Had you been on the show times before, you knew that this is a virtual background, which you see in most podcasts. It's not people's homes, it's a virtual background. So your insultive comments you can keep to yourself. I am genuine. People that know me know that. So these comments that y'all make on here, if you don't know what you're saying, please don't make those comments, please. They're very distracting. They're very condescending. And we're trying to do something here positive. So if you're bitter about something, then you need to find another outlet now, because the things that you said here, I'm not going to post this because it doesn't make any sense. So you have a blessed day. But back to you, Tabitha.
I don't even
this
know,
is
but...
this is what I'm saying in a nutshell. The next show we're gonna do is 50-50. We're gonna have a couple of guests on, and Faith made a very productive statement or point today when she said the more guests you have on, the more complicated it becomes. So with that being said, because everybody doesn't know everybody, and I don't want to have a bunch of people on where we end up arguing or trying to overtalk each other. So if I'm gonna try to keep it down to maybe 1, 2, 3 guests at the most. Okay. So with the dating scene today, we've already touched bases on the options, what you're looking for. What advice would you give to younger women that's younger than you, that hasn't experienced the things that you've experienced in life? What advice would you give to them to help them avoid some of the obstacles that you may have had to experience in your life?
Well, I think the most important thing, the biggest requirement I would tell anybody is clearly, if he doesn't treat you like a lady, if he doesn't act like a gentleman, let me put it this way: if he doesn't act like a gentleman, don't expect him to treat you like a lady. That would be the biggest piece of advice that I can give.
So if he
And
doesn't,
if you don't act like a lady, don't expect to land a gentleman.
well, oftentimes people play roles. So
I get that, but I mean, on a wholeheartedly, like, it takes more than 1 or 2 days to people usually drop their guard relatively early. You start to notice it. Just that maybe how they'll talk to the server in a restaurant. You'll start to notice it if you have your eyes open at all. How aggressive they are. You know what you figure out. Your own moral compass will tell you what you deserve, really what you deserve. Hopefully it's a lot.
So I'm kind of confused with that.
My biggest piece of advice would be to go and, if you're seeking out whatever type that you're seeking, obviously you're going to want to be making yourself what he would be attracted to, correct? I don't think there's any particular book or guide to finding the perfect anybody, but don't be embarrassed to get your paper out and write down, what you're looking for, what you can tolerate, deal breakers, things to go like this too. Like, don't be afraid to go back and reconsult, and then, write down what you the person you want to be, the person that you see yourself now, and where you would like to be, and be constantly taking an inventory of yourself, your awareness, your goal setting. Are you achieving those goals? And just keep it honest with yourself. If you meet somebody, sometimes you want it to be that somebody, and it just may not be. And sometimes, you don't ever get to know anybody 1, 2, 3 years into it. I'm sorry, it's just all the crap doesn't fade off until about the 8th year. So it's a fact. They stop giving a crap what you think of them about the 8th year or so. So just don't rush anything.
So
To the
that
young women, now that when you get old, you don't have much time.
So this advice you're giving now would be to younger women?
Absolutely. Do you get your life, live your best life, get yourself to be the best version of yourself imaginable first.
What about the more women that's up in their prime?
Well, I mean, are we talking about looking to have, a plethora of relationships, 1 or 2, one person, a fiance, a husband? Like, what? I'll be based on what they're looking for. But as far as any of them go, I would say always offer up the best version of yourself only. Definitely.
So what do you think women your age are looking for?
Oh boy, I don't know, because I think that most of the women I know my age are either in that successful first marriage, they're divorced miserably or happily. So the happily divorced ones, probably 80% of them would only remarry if it was some millionaire, going through that pain of the failure of a marriage is altering. It's life altering. It hurts.
Why do you think most marriages fail?
Oh, well, I have a couple of different beliefs on that, because there's a part of me that believes that most marriages are doomed to fail these days because of your prior self, the doubt that all that brings to the table. I do believe that initially we're supposed to come into marriage pure. I believe that all the doubt from prior experiences, that it really does create doubt, and it creates a pattern of, in some cases, it just demeans the value of marriage, and the role of your spouse is demeaned because you have had maybe all of the baddest chicks in the world prior to her, and now she had a kid and she's fat, or he got lazy because he got injured and he was, it could be a million things. It's a kind of a hard question, actually.
So if if that's the case, who do you think filed for more divorces, men or women?
Ooh, I really have no stats on that. I don't know. I really don't know.
Women.
I imagine, I
Women
really
do.
don't know.
Women do.
Are you sure?
Women.
And what
Women
what are
file
they
for,
basing it off of?
they're basing off court documents.
No. What are the means? Irreconcilable differences, infidelity. What are the reasons?
Well, I don't know about the infidelity or unreconcilable indifferences. I know over 80% of the divorces that's filed in America are filed by women.
Okay. I really have never even looked into that.
Yeah, I'm talking about it's the data is out there, but that's not even the point. My point is simply this. Okay, we have to establish a mutual ground. Okay, because when you start talking about alpha men, I don't take on these titles myself, as opposed to beta men. Alpha men are considered to be the stronger of the gender.
Mm-hmm.
Beta are considered to be the milder, gentler side of a man. Okay, but the thing about it is, if we're going to be in relationships, promising relationships that needs to be promoted, where they're conducive to both parties.
Sorry about that.
We have to understand each other's role. Okay, you being single for 30 years, raising, not you, but I'm just saying in general, a woman being single for X amount of years, raising several kids by herself without a man being present, in and out, for these encounters that they may have, you establish or declare this independence. Okay, and that's fine and dandy. Most men, such as myself, understand that. But when you come into a relationship with a man that's moving forward in life, has his stuff together, know what he wants, there's no question about what direction he's going or how he thinks, then you have to relinquish that role and step into your feminine essence.
Absolutely.
You have to let that title go, because you can't be in a we still talking about me.
I agree.
It doesn't work like that. And I think this is the problem that a lot of women are having when it comes to relationships. Now, we can easily point the finger, but we're not going to do that on this show, because that's not what it's about. Who's right or who's wrong. We're actually going to talk about the problem and how we can bring about a solution to the problem. Does that make sense?
It does.
So with that being said, let me pose this question to you, because I think you may have hinted about a past relationship that you've had and some of the disappointment that arose from that relationship. So moving forward, your next relationship, what is your anticipation?
None. I don't know. I feel invisible at this point in my life. So
you feel invisible?
Absolutely.
Well, I see you every day, so you can't be invisible.
I mean, realistically, socially, I'm pretty invisible, for a host of reasons.
So, well, here's my suggestion. If you're looking for this unicorn, right, this knight in shining armor, it's kind of contradictory in itself for you to be invisible. You have to be seen. You have to be heard. But see, here's the thing: most women want to be heard, not seen. Because if you meet a man that's just as intellectually inclined as you are, whose finances may be socially, he may be a little higher than you, that man, if he's a man, understanding, kind, generous man, he's going to want a woman that he can relate to
Mhm.
on a balanced field. Okay. Now going into this, he knows he's going to be the man. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. But a woman that comes in because of all these things that she declared, her independence, her femininity, and all this type of stuff, because I think a lot of these women, not older women, but some, but these younger women think that when they claim femininity with all these masculine traits, that's attractive to men, and it's not, because no man wants to come home and get into a confrontation with his woman. You know, the hear the accusations, you know, the combative conversations where a lot of women are bullies when it comes to conversation. You know, so if you want the things that you claim you want, then you have to be willing to give the things that you say you are.
Mm. Okay.
Does that make sense?
So far.
So it's like I hear it all the time, women saying that they're looking for this type of man, which oftentimes it's a unicorn. These type of men don't exist, because I'm gonna just tell you this, and I've met and been around a lot of rich people. I'm not rich myself. I work for a living. If I was wealthy, these women that I see parading around on Facebook and on these social medias with their body exposed, these would never even be women that I would entertain the thought of marrying to bearing children by.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So these women are not only are they delusional, but they can keep parading around competing with each other, because men are just sitting back saying that. I heard a guy say that, hey, men are no longer looking for 8, 9s, and 10s when it comes to physical attributes in women. We're now looking for 5, 6s, and 7s. You know, a woman that has a natural beauty, a woman that's pleasant in her feminine energy, a woman that's not combative, a woman that knows how to respect a man in his essence of manhood. No woman in this world that has been before you, that will come after you, can tell a man how to be a man, just like a man can't tell you how to be a woman. You can't do it. It's unheard of. But every day I hear this from women when they say, well, if you was a real man, well, how do you know what a real man is unless you've had a sex change and you're parading around with tits and a slit?
What if they had a fantastic role model in their life? What a fantastic example in a father or a brother or a...
Well, a role model is a positive step, but every man can't be like that man, irregardless of who he was or what role model he was.
Now, I'm talking about base. I mean, what's under the surface, you may never know. But there's, I mean, you want the basic things that you just described. Hopefully they had somebody around to show them what those things look like. Maybe not all of them, but check some of the boxes, right?
Well, here's the thing. As I said earlier, we're going to have to come to a common ground, because I don't think, I know a lot of people have concluded this and say, well, I'll die single.
Huh.
That's not my destiny, is to die single and alone. And I don't want no dog. I don't want no cats, no squirrels, no turtles. I don't want any of that stuff. You know, my life partner has to be a walking, eligible, compromising, loving, caring, supportive woman. You know, now I've heard people tell this to me when it comes to animals. Well, I can depend on a dog. They're reliable. And my response to that is quit feeding him and see how reliable he becomes and how loving he is.
Well, I heard that if you quit feeding them, they become more reliable.
So, you know, right?
You're breaking up.
Can you hear me?
It sounds like a robot.
Can you hear me now?
It's better.
Okay. What differentiate animals from human beings is our ability to rationalize. Animals live based on instinct. Okay. Most people that have pets truly believe in their hearts and minds because they've had these pets from puppies to whatever age they're at, and they believe that they know these animals. But on the flip side of that, as I was saying earlier, if you quit feeding that animal, the instinctive part, the domesticated part leaves, and the instinctive part kicks in. So now they're in survive mode. So if they're not being fed and they have to eat, they don't have no big selection of food. So whatever comes first, that's what they feast on. So no one can ever tell me that a pet is more loyal and reliable than a man or a woman.
Well, maybe based off of what they're comparing it to, they don't have any. It's really hard to say.
Well, I'm talking about
as far as just the thing about it is, people are always going to have a negative report for what they didn't achieve, and the flaw will never rest on themselves. I've noticed. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, the thing about it is, God designed us to be in unison, man and woman. He didn't, nowhere in the Bible, and I don't really want to get into the religious aspect of it, but nowhere in the Bible that God create a pet for a man in substitute for a woman or vice versa. Have you read the Bible?
From cover to cover, no.
Well, I have, and nowhere in the Bible does it say that. This is what happens once we, as a people, as humans, we evolve. Means we start to grow and become knowledgeable of different aspects of life. Then what we do is we take the simple and basic things and we tweak them to justify our way of rationalizing with life.
Of course.
Okay.
So
when you have both men and women that say, I don't need anyone, what they're basically saying is they've come to that conclusive point in their life where they're going to die alone. Okay. Because we all have a void in our life. And that void can only be filled. That void in your life can only be filled with a man. Just like the void in my life can only be filled with a woman. Not with a dog, not with a turtle, not with a bird, not with $1 billion. None of that can fill that void. So all these people, both men and women, that have this fallacy that I've just accepted, I'm going to be single for the rest of my life. Well, they blocked mankind out. They're just saying that I don't want to embrace an equal or have that balance in my life. I just want to be lonely, secluded, and think the way I think, say the things that I say, and convince other men and women to be on this destructive road that I'm on. And I don't mean destructive by going out hurting people physically, but what they do is they plant these seeds psychologically. And they hurt people in that way because now you're taking people out of the social arena. Don't go out anymore. Don't have fun. Don't do that. Just stay at home. Go and get you a pit bull. Go and get you a cat or a bunch of cats, and you're gonna be happy, girl. Ain't no man gonna never satisfy you the way Duke will. Yeah, that's not reality. It's not. So you and me both, and all the people that's on here tonight, because there's a lot of people on here. I don't know if you can see them, but
I don't.
yeah. Some of them are making comments, and then a lot of them are not. They're just basically watching. And most of the people that do watch and don't comment are the people that are trying to acquire the benefits from the show, from the narrative. Okay. So my suggestion to you, young lady, is this. You have to make yourself visible. You have to make yourself seen. Because if you truly desire the man that you have advocated for tonight, that man exists somewhere. That man may be watching. I don't know.
Could be in the kitchen.
Yeah. So, oh, really? Because I think you said you were not single, correct?
I didn't comment either way.
Oh, okay. All right. So for
it's only day one.
Oh, okay. But anyhow, with women being over 40, because that's what we're talking about, what it's like dating over 40, you believe from your experience that there's limited options.
I mean, just the difference between 40 and 50 is like it's huge. The difference is huge. In 40s, I mean, in my 40s, I was still the bomb. I really, really was. And then not that really at all anymore. So in the 40s, I was still the bomb though.
So what you consider yourself now? A
not
grenade?
The bomb. No.
So you're not the bomb, you're the grenade now, huh?
I don't know. I don't think I'm the bomb anymore, but you know. So I don't know. I think it's like you have to try new things. You want to meet different types of people, then introduce yourself into completely different social atmospheres. Try playing for a co-ed softball team, or just try something different. Try taking yourself on a weekend staycation once a month by yourself. Try something different. You have to be out there in order to be found. Can't just be sitting at home complaining and being sad, moping.
So there is options.
Tons. You just have to uncover them. Everything won't work for you. Get your butt to church. Meet some nice gentlemen.
That's one suggestion I would never make to anybody. Just go to church.
Can't hurt.
Well, I don't believe it's going to help either, but that's just my opinion. But here's my thing in conclusion, because we're coming up to that hour. I think distinguished women, that's the terminology I would use. Once you get to a certain point in your life, I think the options are there. It's just a matter of how you present yourself and your mindset. Yeah. We already know, men coming in, that once you're past a certain age, you can't bear children. So most men that you may meet, because they say 50% of men in America are single and without children, the other percentage, low percentage, are men that have children, multiple children. Okay. So with that being said, if a single man comes into a relationship with you, he's not looking for children. Okay. What he's looking for is that stability, that support, that bond, that partnership. He's not looking for a woman that he has to compete with. He's not looking for a woman that's going to challenge him. I've heard women say that it's their responsibility as a woman to challenge a man. Who told them that?
I think that you're misinterpreting what they're saying. challenging him to maybe learn how to listen a little more, how to be more open to taking her ideas into consideration. Challenging him to step out of his comfort zone socially, challenge him to step out of his comfort zone as far as lifestyle, maybe starting him at the gym, making him try some, that's what they mean. Challenge him as far as keep up with me sometimes. I'm going to be outgoing as a team. You know what I mean? That's what I think that they mean when they say that. Not challenge him, like definitely never put his manhood in question or on blast. Never ever do that if you want him to ever treasure you. I think that you misunderstand what somebody meant by challenge.
Okay, well, let me pose this to you. If I misinterpreted what they were saying by challenge, what happens when it's just the opposite? When women are actually challenging men, and it's not for the betterment or things that's conducive to themselves as well as the relationship, but the way that they talk. Because you got to remember, communication is the key. So if I say something, and every time I say something, especially in the social arena, you're questioning, wouldn't you consider that as a challenge?
I would consider that more or less shaming your man.
That's a challenge.
That's far worse.
Yeah, that's a challenge. It's a challenge when a woman constantly refer to what a man should or shouldn't be. It's another thing when you're trying to encourage a man to exercise, you're trying to encourage a man to socialize, because you feel that would be more conducive, more so to you and your relationship, despite what he believes. But your verbiage and how you communicate the things that you desire in the change is one thing. Okay. And what I mean by the challenge part is you have to be, I'm gonna give you an example. If me and you were in a relationship and say you were heavy set, okay? And I came into the room every day and I said, you know what? You need to get your big ass up and go to the gym. Is that encouraging or challenging?
That's insulting. That's degrading. That's humiliation.
Exactly. So you can define it any way you want, but to me, it may be challenging you to get out the bed and go to the gym.
I understand what you're saying. You know, I guess it does come down to a question of style.
Yeah, it's not what you say oftentimes, but it's how you say it.
Definitely.
Okay, so when women challenge men and they say, well, I'm challenging you as a man, I shouldn't have to go through a characteristic interview each and every day for my woman.
I agree.
I shouldn't have to do that, because if I have flaws, which I do, because I'm pretty sure she do, because she's not a perfect human being, just like I'm not. There's a right and wrong way for you to pull me up as my woman. You can pull me off to the side and say, babe, you know, this is a concern of mine, blah, 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 whatever the situation is. And then we can talk about it. But when I mean challenge, what I mean by is disrespect, destructive and condescending when it's being done in the presence of other people, including kids.
I agree.
That's the challenge I'm talking about. And I see it oftentimes in with my family members. It's very common with a lot of Black women today, not older women, but younger women. And it's not very appealing. It's not. So, but I agree with you wholeheartedly about, you know, the things that you can say to challenge a man to be better, because we all need that nudge, that push. You know,
definitely.
Even me at the age that I'm at, I consider myself a sponge, because I'm always trying to learn something different. I'm always trying to learn different social approaches. I worked with a friend of mine's wife yesterday, and she's so personable when it comes to educating, particularly the opposite sex.
Okay.
And every time I'm around her, I learn something different. And it's not even as that she come out and challenge me like, Ramon, I think you can be a better man if you stop doing this or you start doing this. She would make a suggestion, like an open, generalized suggestion. And it's not even directed towards me, but it's just thrown out there, and I grab it and run with it. You see what I'm saying? Oftentimes we can encourage people without being direct.
Idealize.
And I like women that possess those characteristic traits because they know their role. I don't know why this computer keeps on. They know their role as women. They know how to support their man and know how to motivate their men. Can you hear me, Tabitha?
I can.
You can?
Yes.
Yeah, for some reason, my laptop keeps turning off. So with that being said, I thank you very much for being on the show. You were truly inspirational. I love your perspective, and I would hope that you would consider being a guest on a future show, and to bring your distinguished perspectives about life and the possibilities that women your age or older may have, and some of the options that they have out there, and to give some of these younger women a broader perspective about life when it comes to men, how to entreat men and not come to the table with this mindset that they're the table when they're not even made of wood. Okay, they're very synthetic, very cellophane. Men see them coming, and it's not to put them down. It's just this fad that's going on out here now that a lot of women are embracing about what men are required to do in order to be in their presence. And as I say, I think both men and women are prizes, but in order for you to take on that title, you have to possess those characteristic traits that's noble, that's sincere, and realistic. And I think you possess those traits.
I'm flattered. Thank you.
I see for you in your future, and I'm not no fortune teller or anything, but I think you have a promising future when it comes to relationships. Don't sell yourself short when it comes to options, because only thing that you can't give a man willingly is a child. But if he seeks anything else, I think you possess those qualifications to give a man that and exceed his expectation. That's just my belief.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay. So with that being said, it was a pleasure. I thank each and every person that chimed in, all the people that support the show. Let me say this before we close. I know a lot of people say this to me, that I need to be more consistent. And I agree with you. I won't refute anything that's factual or realistic. But please keep in mind, I'm not trying to deprive people of the guests that I may have on the show or myself. Some people will agree to some of the things I say, my perspectives, and some people won't. I work in an industry that I don't have a permanent, if you will, contract when it comes to my my time schedule. Okay, we work unorthodox times, and this show is supposed to air every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Unfortunately, the way it is, until I can get a co-host to narrate the show when I'm at work, when these unorthodox times come about, please forgive me and please be patient, because sooner or later we're going to get back on track where we're more consistent, and the shows will be so every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday you turn on, even if the show isn't live, and it may be pre-recorded, but it will actually be an updated show. So please be patient with me. Please don't fall away quit supporting because I need your support. I'm gonna always have lovely ladies like this on. And understand, I do not go out and select these women that agree to my terminology, my perspective. I talk to them, I interview them, I get their perspective, and if I believe that they can bring something conducive to the show that'll be beneficial not only to me but to the people that's listening, then I invite them on as a guest. If they're going to come on and be combative, argumentative, and this is the reason I choose not to have a studio, because if you become very combative and disrespectful, I can just cut you off. You know, I don't have to worry about hiring security to come in. I don't have to worry about getting in a physical confrontation with you if you throw a drink in my face or anything of this nature. So we're going to keep this very pleasant, very professional, and very respectful. So again, Tabitha, thank you.
Thank you so
You
much
were
for having me.
Yes. I hope to have you back again. I'm pretty sure I'll get a lot of good responses about you tonight or in the morning, because it seemed like everybody's sending responses at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm asleep.
Okay.
You know, so hopefully you'll bless us with your presence again.
I'm looking forward
You know,
to it.
Love to have you on. So with that being said, each and every one of you, please be safe. This is Bridging the Gap between men and women. I'm your host, Ramont Williams. It's been a pleasure. Thank you again, Tabitha. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you again Tuesday,
Okay.
8 o'clock. God bless you. Take care.